Oops, I found a hair. Hold on. I hit that. There's a hair from my paintbrush in here. Come with me today on a journey to a boho beach farmhouse of your dreams. Just kidding. How about you come with me and I'll teach you how to make this furniture that'll make you feel like you're at the boho farmhouse of your dreams. I'm going to show you how to take the bottom half of a hutch, get it all painted, put crackle and chippy and amazingness, and then plank the top. And we used a new finish. Normally we do a layered finish, but we used a new finish to give a washed out beach look. I get asked a lot about how to get crackle. Usually I just use milk paint because it does it naturally. And sometimes if you seal it when it's really cold, it'll crackle. But I'm going to use the Sweet Pickin's Crackle to see if I can get the DIY paint to crackle over the top. I'm pretty sure that I can. The first thing I'm going to do is paint it all along the bottom, and I kind of want it to be super crackly on the bottom and not as much on top. So I'm going to go thicker and then thinner and then not all the way up. Let it dry for 2 hours, and then I'm supposed to just paint over the top of it. Alright, so first up we've got DIY paint and beadboard. This is just a sample, so I'm not sure if it's enough. If it's not, then I'll bust open a quart, but I'm going to try to use up the rest of this and give this thing a base coat. Ooh, it's already crackling. Look at that. That's delicious. So I found this door on Pinterest and I was trying to replicate it, and this actually looks nothing like that door. It happens sometimes. But I do like where this is heading, so I'm just gonna go with it. What I'm trying to do is keep like mostly white on the bottom, and then it's lighter and then goes darker. And then what I'll do when it's all done is I'll probably repaint this entire outside and around the edges to make them more of a brighter white. But for right now, I'm just focusing on these middle panels here. I've got my paintbrush, and this is actually White Swan. Sorry, I started with beadboard, but I ran out. So I've got White Swan in here, and I've already got a coat of White Swan, but I'm gonna go ahead and put on some more, so that way I've got a good, and actually it's got a little blue in it because I used it to blend, but I just want it to be fresh because I want a lot of this white to come through. What I don't know is if this crackle that's down on the bottom will stay after it's gotten wet and repainted. A lot of it may go away, and that's okay. It's already added quite a bit of texture to my piece in a few areas, so we're good. All right, so I've got this all painted, and I'm gonna come layer it in. I've got mint chip, bohemian blue, sea glass, and this is apothecary mixed with hay sailor that I had left over from another project. I'm starting off with my mint chip, and I'm just coming in on that bottom, and you can see it's actually got a little bit of other colors in it, but that's just because I blended with it, so it's okay. I'm just gonna put a little bit more in here. Then I'm going into my sea glass, and I'm just adding an extra layer in here. Then I'm going to dip into my bohemian and come up a little farther. Next I'm adding the apothecary and hay sailor, and I'm just kind of blending just a little bit of that. I don't want too much because it's kind of grayish. And then I'm going to come back in with my mint chip and brighten this up on the bottom here. Okay, when I think I've got a good amount of color on there, I'm going to take my brush that I had my White Swan, and I'm going to just come into some more White Swan, and then I'm going to bring it down into this colors down here. Okay, so you can kind of see that it's lighter and then it goes dark and then it's got a green on the bottom. That's the look I'm going for. And then I'm going to take my squirt bottle come up from the top and really mix these colors. And if I don't like the lines, I'm a finger painter. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but and something that I kind of like to do while let me get this all wet. Hold on. While it's wet, I like to come in and pull back some of the paint because it's white underneath on my finger. There we go. Then I've got my putty knife, and I'm only doing this in a few spots. I'm just gonna drag in the paint, and then maybe here, and then I just like to take and come back up. There you go. Alright, Zeb's going to give you a pan of what I've done thus far. I'm done. I'm letting this completely dry. Then I will come back and highlight with the white around the edges just to brighten it up a little bit. And then I think we're going to put on some aging dust and dark wax. We'll see. We've got an orbital sander, and yes, I'm going to be sanding inside. No, I don't recommend it, but it's too cold outside and the garage is full, so it is what it is. I've got 220 sandpaper on here, and I'm going over the whole piece. I've already done this one, so you can kind of see the look that we're going for. We've still got the crackle, but we've got like the old, just worn down, distressed look. And the 220 is great because it doesn't peel it, it just smooths it and kind of powders off the paint. If you're using this technique and you're not using the correct paint, you won't get a similar look. You really need great paint so that way it powders off and then you get this really good aged look. I showed you where it crackled right away, but then I put more paint and water, and so the crackle went away. There's still some crackle in a few spots, especially like right here you can see the crackle that happened. But one of the cool things that happened from using that crackle is it was kind of like a paint resist. So we got this real chippy looking finish, and we were able to control it by it just chipped where the crackle was and not everywhere else. So kind of like milk paint, but we use the DIY clay paint. So definitely something I would suggest buying, playing around so you can get fun textures. Stop laughing at me, Zeb. Anyway, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna plank the top, and I'm measuring out, it's 49¼ inches long by 16¼ inches deep. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my wood all cut, and we'll staple it to the top.
Do it.
So I'm going for a real light beachy farmhouse vibe. So instead of doing my layered stain where I do like a brown stain and a gray wash and then a white dry brush, I just sanded this cedar fencing all the way down until it became kind of a light wood. There's a little bit of the stain left over from the hardware store, and I'm going to take my min wax. It's whitewash pickling. You could also do the same thing with a watered down chalk paint if that's what you have on hand, but we need to use this up. So I'm just taking it and going over this and really lightening this up and washing it out. Still see the wood grain, but it's giving you a nice like beachy vibe. I'm hoping once we seal it, it looks more like driftwood. I'm gonna do that to all of this, and luckily these 3 pieces were the exact size, so we don't have to make any cuts with a table saw, and then we'll staple this on. We've got all of our boards done with that whitewash pickling, and we're gonna go ahead and staple it to the top. I've just got my pneumatic staple gun. You can also use nails if you want to, or whatever you've got on hand. This is the easiest for me. I'm just lining it up flush. Of course, I'm going with the grain so that way I don't split it and it's stronger. And I'm gonna put 2 staples here. Then I'll come over and put 2 staples on the other side. You could fill them and re-sand them if you want to, but I kind of like the rustic look, so I leave them. And then I'm gonna find the middle, which is right here, and add 2 more. I'm gonna do that to all of these boards, and then we'll be ready to seal. Our boho farmhouse dream came to life with this piece. I really enjoyed making it. There was some fun times, some times where I wasn't sure what was gonna go on. There was a few times I was like, what the crap am I doing? But it's all about the process. Sometimes you have to step back, let it dry, and then come back to the piece so that way you can figure out what you want to do. The trick with this piece was definitely the sanding. I really felt like until I got my orbital sander out and kind of muted some of the colors, it just wasn't the look that I was going for. So be sure to go to JamiRayVintage.com for all the DIY products and the sweet Pickin's Crackle that I used. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so we can make you more awesome DIY videos.